Welcome everyone, I'm Jerry O'Neill and this is the Scholar Gypsies. I'm just jumping on here this morning to let you know about a live Scholar Gypsies event I'm hosting on May 11th in Tuam at 3 p.m. I've invited the independent European candidates, Una McGurk, the barrister and senior counsel, and John Waters, journalist and author of the Substack John Waters Unchained, to join me for a discussion about their European candidacy and some of their policies. Now, I only got this idea during the week properly, and it was triggered by going through the lists of declared candidates in the European elections, and I was quite shocked by how many candidates are running in each constituency. And while this is a good thing, I think it also has a couple of issues for candidates in terms of getting their name awareness of who they are and what they're about to the general population. So I got in touch with both their campaign teams of Una and John, and they're very eager to participate in this event. What I'm trying to do is create a kind of studio audience atmosphere, not dissimilar to years ago, maybe questions and answers, where you have people that are eager to talk about and listen to many of the topics of concern in Ireland today. The problem we have with our media is that many of the real topics that people actually want to talk about and hear conversation about are not discussed on mainstream platforms, whether that be RTE, the mainstream newspapers, or even local radio stations. So I'd be the type of person that would look at situations like this and say to myself, well, what is being denied to me? Let me try and create if I can. So the timeline on this is challenging, to say the least. I've run events in the past, and I normally give myself 2.5 to 3 months to, organize them. In this case, I've given myself 7.5 days. So, but that's the world we live in. And when I was looking around, I obviously have had John and Una on the Scholar Gypsies before. They're both highly intelligent, very thoughtful people, and I'm very convinced that they're coming. Their hearts are in the right place about the problems in Ireland and what we should be doing to overcome these problems. I've written at length on my written platform, The West's Awake, highlighting my skepticism of what can be achieved in the political arena, but at the same time, I'd like to, in a certain way, be proven wrong about that, and I wouldn't ever want to be holding people back or being negative towards people that have a different opinion than me on this subject in particular. And while I'm in no way involved with any of the two campaigns, I'm kind of supportive of them getting elected, or they're certainly the type of people I'd like to see in the European Parliament. I think if there was more, if the European Parliament and the Irish Dáil was filled with people like Una McGurk and John Waters, a lot of our problems would be tackled in the manner they need to be tackled. Anyway, running this event, there's a cost to it, but I'm not going to, this isn't going to be buy a ticket for 30 euros and attend. What I'm going to do instead is just, I want, because of the time constraints, I'm asking people to make a donation to hosting the event. And you can do that via the Revolut number, 085 121 4347, or through the Buy Me a Coffee link, both of which will be in the pinned comment and in the description of this video. So whether you can go or you can't go, if you'd like to make a contribution to cover the costs of the event, that would be much appreciated. But the focus is getting 80 to 100 people in a room. I have a venue booked and have the eager support of both their campaign teams. So we'll be going ahead with it on Saturday week. I'd like to get as many people in the room to create an energy that hopefully transfers to video. And the video that will be produced from this event will be made available to both campaign teams, so that when they're on a doorstep and somebody might ask them about, well, what's your refugee asylum seeker policy, or what do you hope to achieve in that arena? That's not a 1 minute conversation. So they can point back to this video and say, look, here's my 1 minute answer, but I go into depth on that particular topic in this debate I had in Tuam. So it can be, the video can be kind of a tool that they can use, and people can decide then whether they agree or disagree with whatever their views are on specific topics. The format of the event will go something as follows. Each candidate will be asked to give a 5-minute presentation of why they're running in the European elections, who they are, and what they stand for. After both of these presentations are finished, Una and John will sit down with me and I will put some questions to them on a variety of topics, and also on some specific policies. I'd envisage this section of the conversation to go on for maybe 90 minutes to maybe 2 hours. We'll judge that by the energy that's in the room. And then finally, I'll be taking audience questions, 3 or 4, and putting them directly to Una and John. The method I'll be using to do this is that when people arrive at the venue, they'll be asked to write down a short question. We'll gather them all into a bucket and we'll pull out three or four, depending on how quickly we get through them. Might do a couple more, and we'll put them directly to both candidates. It'll be that simple. Now, one of the issues I foresee for a lot of the independents and smaller party candidates is a very simple one: name recognition. So when you go into a polling booth, if you try and picture it in your mind, the person with the ballot, they're going to have a ballot with well over 20 names on it. The first challenge candidates face is that the person that goes into the polling booth recognizes the name. Like, they can put a face to that name. And this event is I'm hopeful this event will help in that regard. I was speaking to the campaign manager of one of the candidates, and we were just having a chat. I says, how many votes do you think you need to have a chance? And his answer was about 70,000 votes. Now, when you think about that, that's a huge number of votes to collect when you've got over 20 other people competing for that vote. the plethora of independents that are running, there is a risk, in my opinion, that they kind of cancel each other out. Because while there might be transfer packs and stuff like that, transfers don't. How do you put this? Transfers don't transfer at a like 1-to-1 rate. So one of the worries I'd have is that people that are willing to tackle some of the issues that that I would see need tackling might end up canceling each other out. So I think many candidates out there need to recognize, if they're serious, of exactly how many votes they need to get. And a good exercise, I think, for candidates, it's probably going to be a humbling one for a lot of them, is to send 2 people into a town and just ask 10 people, or give 10 people the name of your candidate, and see how many people recognize the name. I think a lot of people will be quite shocked with that piece of market research. But anyway, I'm digressing there. One final thing I want to say is basically a lot of my writing on the Western Wake, especially recently, has been, the advent and problems of AI and technology. So one of the reasons I'm kind of focusing on having this in-person event is that technology, like even watching this video, is a tool you use rather than you being the tool that's being used by technology. And I think increasingly it's the latter that is the case in a lot of people's lives. So if I can get 100 people in the room, the physically and the energy that creates will hopefully transfer to the camera, and hopefully the video gets out, of the event gets out and is useful. But also anyone that shows up, may say if 100 people show up, 30 of them like what they hear or like one of the candidates and say, you know what, I want to really help that person. They'll have an opportunity to offer their services in whatever manner that might be, with the campaign teams of both candidates. Okay. All of the independents, and John and Una are probably no different, have very, very limited resources. And I'll have the GoFundMe links to both candidates' campaigns at the bottom of this video if people would like to support them financially, and they can also do it on the day as well. Now, how do you go to this event if you do happen to be free on Saturday week, May 11th? Well, as you can see, the ticker at the bottom there has an email address and my WhatsApp phone number. So, given the world we live in, I will be given the exact location in Tuam to this event, only to the people that are going to it. Okay, so if you do want to go to it, just drop me an email, lynnbrook1973 at gmail.com, or text me on WhatsApp 085 121 4347, just stating who you are, and why, and how many will be joining you at the event. There'll be donation buckets at the door as well to cover the cost of the event. I just want to make that clear. If you want to contribute to the candidates, you can do it in the room, obviously, but I'd encourage people to go to contribute towards their GoFundMe accounts that are linked here, and I'm sure the people will from the teams will direct attendees to the GoFundMes on the day as well. If you can't go to the event but you're supportive of the idea, again, just the links in the bottom to help us cover the costs on this. They're not huge, but they're like, there'll be a couple of grand between camera crews, mics, sound systems, and venue booking the venue. So that's really it. I don't have much time to achieve this, but I think if the idea is good, the universe will give us a dig out, as they say. And again, if this is in any way successful or useful, I might do another one before the election in some other location maybe. But for the moment, we're focused on John and Una. It promises to be a good conversation, if nothing else. Many of the people that watch the Scholar Gypsies have seen Una and John on being interviewed on this channel before, and they're among the most popular videos that I've done. And it's, I think it's a good showcase of the intelligent, intellectual, really philosophical people that are out there trying to achieve good outcomes for this country. And John and Una are definitely two of those people. So again, I'd love if you could attend in any way. Tuam is in Galway, by the way. And it's on the motorway, so literally, if you're like me, you can get from the M50 roundabout to Tuam in an hour and 20 minutes. You might be going to touch over 120 though. So that's it. Again, I just want to let you know I have a number of other political candidates lined up for interview on the Scholar Gypsies. I'll be dropping one of those on Saturday or Sunday. And my focus, a lot of my current affairs political focus will be just on this YouTube channel, and I'll leave my West Awake platform for my more I suppose different type of writing, whether that's kind of my own journey, satire, short stories, and all that kind of stuff. So thanks for listening, and hopefully we will see some of you in Tuam on May 11th at 3 o'clock.